Good morning. I'm Reverend Leslie Goodwin. I'm your Associate Minister, and I'm delighted to be with you today. I want to add my welcome to everyone here who's here for the first time here at the Tatum campus, here in the online campus. We so appreciate your presence. The one thing that I personally want you to know, and I know that that's true of the whole community, is that whoever you are, whatever brought you here, whatever you've done in your life, wherever you've been, whatever you've believed, whoever you love, all that stuff, you are welcome here exactly the way you are. We're so glad that you are with us today. So my message today is called Faith is a Choice. It sounds like I'm going to expect you to do things like show up, doesn't it? I wonder how that song got picked. Faith is a choice. So people talk to ministers and practitioners all the time, every day, about things like, how do I build my faith? How do I know this is real? How do I learn to trust these things that y'all keep telling me are universal principles, which should mean they always work, right? How do I trust that? Because God has not manifested in human form in front of me and said, I am God, this is the truth. How do I have faith in something that I don't have any evidence for? Oh, yeah. And I think I know what people think I'm going to say, because it kind of is what I pretty much always say. I suspect you're going to say the answer is daily substantial spiritual practice. So if anybody didn't catch that, that was daily substantial spiritual practice. And wow, have we got you guys warmed up. That's fantastic. And daily substantial spiritual practice, prayer, meditation, self-reflection, studying wisdom, is a major pathway to building faith. But it's not the only one. And sometimes people need to have some faith activated before they're willing to step into that. Anybody ever have that feeling of like, but that's a lot of work to expect me to do on your word, lady? Fair, totally reasonable. So I was thinking, what if there are other ways for us to approach this idea of building faith? See, if we wait for faith until we know for sure, is it even faith anymore? No, that's just called knowing stuff. I mean, I don't know that I walk around going, I have faith that there was a Big Bang, and I have faith in gravity. Like, we just know that, right? We just know that. But for some reason, when it comes to something like spiritual truth, we want proof. Not that let's test it proof. We want it to be proven, right? I mean, I would be down for that. It would be handy, right? It would make my job so much easier. Or maybe unnecessary, but we don't need to go into that. So I looked up, what is proven? What does proven mean? It means demonstrated true beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's proven. And you know, even that's a stretch, because in science, those things, we still call them theories. We're really into our theories, theory of gravity, right? We know this theory, but it's still called a theory. It's not called a absolutely yeah for sure. Though that may be what it would have been called if a Valley girl had named it. Demonstrated true beyond a shadow of a doubt. Unquestionable. So here's the thing, though. This is what we want. Humans love a pattern. We love certainty. But 100% proof is not available on planet Earth to the human brain, especially about something as ephemeral as spirit and belief and how we think the universe works. Now, I hear you. There are at least 3 of you right now, I think that one might be one of them, who's saying, well, what do you just expect me to suspend my critical thinking and just believe it? Because we already covered. We're not going to just believe it because you say so, lady. Good. Please don't ever believe anything just because I say so. My job is to show up, put on a cute dress, and have an outline. And look. Hopefully it's based in, some plausible spiritual truth. Knock wood, I'm pretty good on that. But I don't have any stronger jack in to spiritual truth than you do. I don't have any more of that than you do. Reverend Karen doesn't have any more of that than you do. Reverend Lori doesn't. The practitioners don't. There can't be more of God truth in any one of us than there is in every single one of us. It's either everywhere or it's not. We can't do this parse. God is not a pie. There's plenty of it to go around. It's everywhere all the time. The circle with no circumference, whose center is everywhere. I love that definition of spirit. So if this is true, if we're thinking about that that's how God works, we can never 100% know from this perspective. I don't know if our brains aren't structured to see it all the way, or if it's just part of the way the universe works. But we can feel really sure about something and still not have evidence, the absolute proof of it. So we kind of got to let that go. Because if we're holding on to that, if that is the standard of expectation, we will never have it. We will never feel it at the end. And frankly, if you don't ever want to have faith, cool. You don't have to. We don't moralize it. There's no rule about it. Nothing bad's going to happen. You just won't get to have that. And so let's play with how maybe you can have it. So we don't want you to give up your critical thinking. Questioning is good. Questioning is essential. In fact, I don't think you can have faith if you don't question. I think what we call faith without questioning it at all is like what Ernest Holmes called being an automaton, what we would call now a robot, where we're programmed to think something. We don't actually believe it. If we don't question, how do we even know that we agree? How do we deepen into the belief in the faith if we're just spewing out what somebody told us to think? And that's what it is if we don't question it. So please know, we never, never, never want you to do that. I don't want it. Karen doesn't want it. Ernest Holmes didn't want it. That's why he talked about open at the top, that this teaching was going to continue to evolve and more people would come forth with deeper understanding because that's how evolution works, and that we would all share it together and the teaching would grow and we'd all expand and we'd spiral upward and upward and outward and bigger and serve more people and life would just continue to get better. Just that. And I like that plan. I gotta say, I'm a fan of that plan. So how do we reconcile this? We take it into the world of evidence, seeking evidence. So evidence is the available body of facts, information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. And in this context, evidence means doing it yourself. Trying it yourself. Reading, yes, read. Listening, sure, absolutely. Talking to a minister or practitioner, you got it. Do all the things you need and want to do. And you have to touch the science equipment yourself. Science of mind. People ask all the time, why do you think that there aren't millions of people in this building who are not blowing out walls? It's because science of mind requires rather a lot of us. And one of the things it requires us to do is do the things, is to show up in our practice, to show up in our consciousness, to show up in our questioning and feel into it. Now, we have a favorite way to test, to bring forth evidence, and it is called manifestation. We love manifestation. Charlie loves manifestation. We love it, and we talk about it all the time, and I am not going to talk about it today. Not because it's not fantastic. It is fantastic. And it's not everybody's path, right? It's just not. For a lot of people, it gives us the first opportunity to try spiritual mind treatment in particular, or changing our approach and seeing our world change, and that's fantastic. But let's talk about a different way we could work on building our faith. What if Instead of, or even in addition to, playing with manifestation and the creative process, what if we leaned into the specific principles? What if we picked a couple of those principles that are demonstrably worldview changing and leaned into those and see how our life changes? Oh, so you all look so interested. Everybody kind of leaned forward about 1/4 of an inch. Principles, you say, Leslie? Surely you're going to tell me more. I am. So I like to do this by playing what if. This is my little internal what if game. What if I'm already enough? What if you're already enough? Exactly as you are, right here, right now. Oh my gosh, I can hear the torrent of every thought coming. But I need to lose 5 pounds, and I need to finish my degree, and I never called my sister back, and I am so behind on my thank you notes. And oh no, I can't find my direction in the streets for anything. If it wasn't for GPS, I would be lost and dead, and I didn't even get Taylor Swift tickets. I didn't. So we're just going to let all that pass us by. We are so programmed. That automaton thing is at play in our consciousness around our social programming. That even to entertain the idea that I'm enough the way I am can shake us. Because, oh my God, what if that means I'm never going to get any better? And if I don't beat the crap out of myself on the daily, maybe I will never improve. And this is all I'm ever going to get. It was illustrated to me recently when I was having a conversation about diet culture. So everybody here knows, I'm adamantly anti-diet culture. I'm adamantly pro-intuitive health and eating. And so I'm having this conversation with a good friend that's into the same stuff, and I would say I'm an advocate for anti-diet culture. And she stopped the conversation cold and said, Leslie, you know this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I kind of think you lost it for a minute. It's okay as a person with chronic illness if you are not interested in a cure and you're choosing to prioritize quality of life. And it is okay as a curvy gal if you never want to lose a pound. And everything in me went, I was like the cat in Pepe Le Pew. Right? I wanted nothing to do with that thought, even though it completely reflected my professed beliefs, because the conditioning is strong. The conditioning is strong. So I'm going to need something to help me get to what if I'm already enough on a challenging topic. And odds are everyone does on at least one topic. So Science of Mind, or Centers for Spiritual Living, more appropriately, has this principle that they call spiritual being. And it says, among other things, that alignment with the divine is our true nature because we are what we are made of. It made us out of itself, its own divine substance. Well, no, to paraphrase Marianne Williamson, who am I to think I am not good enough? If I am made of God, by God, to be like God, what are my standards exactly? If godlike, if emanating the power and the presence of the one isn't enough, perhaps nothing is enough, and then we got to have a conversation on the inside. If literally nothing is enough, which I think you'll find might be your truth if you haven't examined this, and it's a hard one, guys. Me too. I am so in this. They say you're not supposed to talk about things till it's processed. I'm not sure this one ever gets fully processed in this lifetime on this planet. We're working on it all the time. But if we want to look at it differently, I've got to get it out of the way I have framed it in my head. I got to look at it a different way, right? So I thought, what if I hired someone to do it for me? Consciously, cognitively, and metaphorically. Who would I hire? If I needed to believe that I was absolutely whole, perfect, and complete, and made exactly the way I'm supposed to be, and more than enough, who would I hire? A custom designer. That's how I got my wedding dress. Right? You want something exactly perfect? You're willing to pay for it? You hire a custom designer. How terribly convenient that I've already been custom couture designed by the infinite presence, and so have you. If we think of the divine as this designer whose job it is to make the most perfect thing for the most perfect moment, and we find ourselves here and we truly say we believe that it brought us forth, that it made us out of itself, how could we be anything else? How could we be anything else? When you let that soak in just a little bit, how does that feel compared to the message of the world? For me, it is an uplifting, buoyant feeling. It feels truer in the heart space, and it feels better in the body space. Things like manifestation come because they're focused, but they also come because we believe the prayer we speak. And we can talk the pattern all we want. If we don't have the belief and the principle underneath it, it's harder for the manifestation to come through. Some might say impossible even. So we lean into the feeling tone. What if I'm already enough? What if the custom designer of the universe has already done a particularly fantastic job on you? And the only one who doesn't see it is you. I can see it. It's not even hard. It's very clear. All right, new game. What if the universe has my back? You know, we stress ourselves out so much trying to make sure that all the pieces fit. All the pieces have to fit. Rearrange the universe. Make it all fit. What if the universe is already designed to do that? And it's doing it, and we're not even noticing because we're so busy trying to move the deck chairs that we don't realize it's already been set up for our highest and best. Centers for Spiritual Living has a principle for that. It's called the principle of love that says, among other things, that love is the self-givingness of universal spirit. For me, that relates to the Christian phrase that it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. That the universe, as Ernest Holmes would say, is conspiring for your good all the time. So we can be stressed and anxious and angry and frustrated and exhausted and very, 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 very tense and doing whatever Karen Drucker was doing when she wrote that song about showing up, where she was having a very bad day because, and have it all work out. In which case, we probably believe that we made it work out by forcing it to go, right? Or we could feel into leaning into the universe. Now, who do we hire to ensure that the universe is in fact stacked in our favor and working in our good? I'm thinking the best assistant ever. You know, the one that knows your sister's husband's birthday and has already bought the present and sent it before you think to remind them. In fact, you get the thank you note and you're like, oh crap, good thing I have that assistant or I wouldn't have remembered to send this gift. The one that knows exactly how you want it done, so you just say 3 sentences and the entire event is planned. Have you ever worked with somebody like that? It's amazing. I had a wedding planner who handled everything so beautifully that I showed up super chill day of and everything was perfect. Now, I can be a little bit controlling. Go ahead, let it out, it's fine. But I wasn't that time. Because I didn't have to be, because I knew Bailey had it. I knew 100% that she knew what I wanted, how I wanted it to be, that she absolutely would get it done, and I could relax. And I did relax, and I had maybe the best day of my entire life, because I knew Bailey had it. Oh my goodness. How does it feel if you process into the idea that your Bailey is named Spirit and doesn't sleep? I sleep, doesn't rest, doesn't need to, and is connected to literally every other being on the entire planet, every single unfoldment, and is continually rearranging the very molecules of the planet to best serve your life. How does that feel? And you don't have to stress it at all. It's happening in real time. Last game. What if I can relax and it will all turn out okay? What if I can? there's this principle called freedom. And it promises us that the true goal of life is freedom from discord of every nature, and that we are all guaranteed to reach it at some point. Freedom from discord of every nature, freedom of the crap I put myself through, freedom of from my inner voices, freedom to express however I want, freedom from distress and lack thinking and the doubts that pull me down. Really? Who do I hire for that? I'm going to hire customer service. Really good customer service. And you know when you get a really good customer service person on the line and they are asking about your kids and you're thinking, what kind of database does this company have? And they're setting it up and they're like, oh, hey, while I have you, let me sign you up for this advanced free service that you don't even know that exists and actually brings your bill down. I want that guy. I want that guy arranging my universe. And conveniently, that's exactly how Spirit is working on our behalf all the time. When we know that that level of energy is being devoted to our good, we can surrender it. We can lay down the need to think that my distress is what's powering the good in my life, because it's not. It's not the distress that powers the good in our life. And the sooner we lay down that idea, oh, the sooner the drama goes away. Take a breath. We do not have to live in the hustle rat race. We don't have to. It's all already handled. So this is what I think it comes down to. From Ernest Holmes, from Living the Science of Mind, he said, it is belief, faith, and acceptance which causes one to transcend the lesser good and ascend into that holy place wherein the eye views the world as one vast plain and one boundless reach of sky. It is the understanding and the leaning into these universal principles that are not unique to science of mind. They show up everywhere there is wisdom over all of time and space. When we lean into these principles, life gets better. Life gets easier on the outside, to speak to my manifestors, and life gets better on the inside, to speak to our self-reflectors. And we need all of that working in conjunction to see the kind of transformative work that really, really changes everything. And that's what you deserve. That's what we deserve. And so that's what we claim as we decide. Remember, faith is a choice. We decide to focus in on these principles. We decide to change the way we're conceiving of them by playing these games in our mind to open up our consciousness to a new way of perceiving ourselves and our relationship with the universe. We decide to do it long enough that we can gather some evidence about whether, in fact, our hearts and minds do change, and if that carries into a transformation of our experience. I have faith that it does, because I have the evidence of my own experience and of watching literally hundreds, maybe thousands of you at this point over the last almost 16 years. I have absolutely faith that you have what it takes to create the life and the heart space that you seek already within you right now. So this week, we choose. Yes? And so it is. Let's anchor this with some prayer. How good it is to allow ourselves to open up our consciousness to that amount, that expansive, expressive amount that allows us to see beyond how we've been programmed, beyond our limiting beliefs, beyond even what we thought yesterday, to open up to an even deeper recognition of how the universe is for us, how life is for us, how we are exactly who and how we're supposed to be, and that we can lean into opening into more love, more freedom, more joy, more good, right where we are. It's already here. Oh, how delightful it is to know that anything that's ever on our hearts or our minds can be brought to this altar of surrender where the universe has got us, where Sweet Spirit has already said, oh, my darling one, you don't need to carry that. I feel like Spirit whispers it into our souls, and we listen. We let that truth filter into our beingness and feel it shift, feel it open, feel it change. And through that change, healings happen, relationships are up-leveled, and goals are met, and yes, manifestations are created. Because it's how it's supposed to work. And so I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to know this for each within the sound of my voice, to know that every single one of us is already right where we need to be, and the good is showing up as we decide, as we say yes. And so I release this word into the action of universal law on behalf of all of us. I call it good, and so it is.